How do you think a person should look at life in general?
Well, I think that's an amazing question. And for me, I think I want to go to someone that I highly respect, and they're a scholar that lived way back then. And to me, that's where I kind of get a lot of my information. One way that he puts it is he says that in this world, you're a traveler and you're traveling on a long journey. And that journey, he says, what you should do with your provisions. So let's say you're gaining provisions in terms of this life. So what should you do with these provisions? He says, load them on the backs of others. So actually disattach from the provision in terms of what you're doing. Whatever things that you have collected in life, don't get attached to them. Disattach and load them on the backs of others. So what do we do most of the time when we're doing something for a homeless person? We think we're better than them. But let's say if I ask you to take something for me, you're doing me actually a favor. So you need to look at a person like that you're actually giving something to, as they're doing you a favor. You're not doing them a favor. So there's a psychological, he traverses that in terms of psychologically. Now, why should you do that? Why should you put your provisions on the backs of others? He says then actually load caravans of that. So give as much as you can. Because sometimes when we give, we actually give with our hand, but our heart is actually pulling our hand back because we're connected to whatever we're giving. So you give emotionally, don't just give physically. Completely different conversation there. But when you disattach from the provision, you will put it on the backs of others gladly. And this is why. He gives a reason why. He says, do that so you can travel light. You can stay lean. You can keep moving at faster rates because you're not getting held back in terms of the protection of your finances and your whatever you're trying to protect in your life. It's an amazing thing when you disconnect emotionally. Do your responsibilities. Take care of your responsibilities in terms of your family, financials, community, spiritually, but ultimately disconnect. Why should you travel lean and light? He gives another reason. It says because in this journey, at the end of it, you're going to have to cross a valley in between two mountains, namely death. And that, when you really understand it, it's kind of an amazing thing because your provisions today are going to get in touch with you later, and this is how he explains it. So now he says everyone has to cross this valley. This valley can be long and painful or short and sweet. If you're traveling light and lean, are you really gonna care about the journey? It's gonna be very quick and it's gonna be no pain. You're gonna have to travel through that. And let's say now, as a person, you have everything on your shoulders when you're gonna cross that valley. And when you cross that valley, it's gonna be long and it's gonna be painful. And then he gives something very beautiful in terms of understanding this. To me, just kind of resonates at a whole nother level, how we kind of connect our worldly level to our spiritual level. He says, past the mountains and the valley, there's two abodes. Pretty much the heavenly aspect of it or the other side. And you know what that is. He says, when you get there, your caravan will decorate where you just got to. Let's say you went to the positive side. So that will actually meet you there. Those people that you've given everything to will actually decorate your new home. So to me, when I think about that, it just takes me to a whole nother level of understanding of everything that I plant now, I will receive later. And that's how we should think about in terms of life and how you connect one foot here and one foot in the grave. Not to put you down or anything like that, but that's a reality. Fear on the positive end is a beautiful thing. And fear at any level in terms of what you're doing, when it's fear of actually the truth and staying truthful in terms of what you're doing, that's an amazing thing. It's actually a precautionary measure. But you have to have that hope in terms of that ambition and getting yourself to the next level. So that's the way I think about life in terms of that. What he gives as an example, to me, it just kind of just resonates at any level with any person.